Ladies and gentlemen, meet the 2015 Kia Sedona minivan. No, make that MPV, multi-purpose vehicle, because Kia doesn't want this to be stigmatized with the minivan label. And you know what? That's a shame, because this is a really good minivan. And Kia was kind enough to fly me out here to beautiful Orange County, where I had a chance to take it for a ride. And guess what's coming up next in the fast lane car? That's right, a first drive review. Here's the thing about these drive programs. I have 120 miles to cover today with my driving buddy in this MPV. And at the same time, I got to shoot B-roll of it, and I have to impart some words of wisdom. And when we do these first drive reviews, one of the things that we never can do is give you all the details. And the reason for that is because after driving the car for, let's say, an hour or two, I just don't know enough about it to say anything that would be considered relevant or thoughtful. And I'm being honest here. So what I can give you is my first driving impression. Now, Kia is trying to disguise this minivan, because it is a minivan, let's face it, this is a minivan. Chrysler invented the segment, the Japanese now own it, and it's a shrinking segment that Kia wants to sell minivans in. From a purely style perspective, the Sedona kind of looks like a big crossover. Actually, one that you might know of, a Sorento. And if it wasn't for this telltale giveaway that shows you that this, of course, is a minivan, you might actually look at this when it's driving down the street and think that you're driving a larger version of the Sorento. From inside, though, of course, it's a completely different story. The inside of the Kia Sedona is a really nice place to be. If you get the more expensive models like this one, as of course we always get to test, you get this really nice two-toned leather, you get dual sunroofs, you get a lot of very Audi-like controls, and that's of course because the designer of this car used to be with Audi. And perhaps my favorite feature of all, check this out. It's the lazy boy feature. So you can recline back and enjoy the comfort of a minivan. You can also enjoy up to 8-person seating if you get the right configuration. Kia thinks that this minivan will sell to both empty nesters and young families. And you know what? They're probably right, because if you've got some four-legged friends, there's nothing more comfortable than a good multi-purpose utility vehicle, you know, a minivan, to drive them around in. And you can call it an MPV, you can call it a crossover, you can call it Joe, but at the end of the day, even though I'm sitting at the front seat here, and if I didn't know what was behind me, I'd have a hard time saying that I am in a minivan. Once I look in the rearview mirror and I see all those seats and I see that vast amount of space back there, I know that I'm in a minivan, which is not a bad thing actually. Minivans are probably some of the most utilitarian, some of the most useful, and some of the most comfortable vehicles you can own, especially on a long road trip. Now, under the hood of this 2015 Kia Sedona minivan is a 3.3-liter 6-cylinder engine that puts out 276 horsepower. And depending on what model you get, there are 5 to choose from. You can either get 24 or 25 mpg combined. The difference, the more expensive models get electric steering, and that gives you better fuel economy. So I'm not sure that running away from the minivan moniker is a great idea to begin with. But let's take this for what it is. It's a very comfortable, very spacious, and very luxurious minivan. It takes some of the best of the genre and makes it better. The seats back there are very comfortable. The leather, very supple. The controls, relatively intuitive. And the driving, well, you know, it's not meant to carve corners. And it's funny that I'm sitting here carving corners in the thing. But at sea level at least, this 3.3 liter certainly has enough get up and go and enough gusto to make this relatively entertaining. Now perhaps one of the coolest features of this minivan is when you walk up to it and you've got the key in your pocket. Look at that. That's right. It opens up all by itself. All you have to do is have the key near you, and what that means is that you don't have to fumble for the key when you've got an arm full of babies, groceries, or bricks if you happen to be at Home Depot. We also have an independent rear suspension, which doesn't hurt the situation. We have wood trim steering wheel, and my gosh, do we have a lot of fun features. Everything from heated and cooled seats to all sorts of safety, electronics, lane departure, blind spot warning, proximity-based cruise control. You know, this is a tour de force when it comes to the genre. And since this is an MPV, of course, a multi-purpose vehicle, not a minivan, it does offer a lot of utility. Check this out. You can pretty easily fold these seats flat once you get the hang of it, creating a nice flat floor and 168 cubic feet of room back here. That's a lot. That's why multi-purpose vehicles or minivans are so useful. If you have a four-legged friend, if you have to go and get some plywood, you know, the stuff that makes these really useful, if not really sexy. So yeah, at the end of the day, the minivan segment in America has a connotation. It's stigmatized, right? Basically, when you're driving this thing, you're telling the world, at least if you're a guy, I've been domesticated. I've given up on my dream of owning a Ferrari, and I've traded it in on domestic life. But you know what? That is not a bad thing. I can't think of anything better than loading your family in the back of this thing and, you know, setting on down the country with a comfortable vehicle, 2, 3, 4 kids, because you can get up to 8 people in this. All right, maybe not with the mother-in-law. And setting on down the road. And if you're going to do it, there's not a lot of choices. Most of the competitors have left the segment, which only leaves you with currently Chrysler, which invented it and which has kind of in some ways walked away from it. Honda, which has the Odyssey, which is, I would say, the sportiest of the current crop. Toyota, which has the Sienna, which is the only one that you can get in all-wheel drive. Ford's kind of coming back with a true European-style MPV, multi-purpose vehicle. And now, of course, Kia with the Sedona, which gives you a lot of value. Think about this car as being about $2,000 or $3,000 less than a comparably equipped Japanese model. It gives you a lot of elegance, and it gives you a lot of utility. And you know what? That's a winning combination, even in a segment that is shrinking. So yeah, I applaud Kia for having the guts, the cojones, as Nathan would say, to actually jump into the minivan segment with both feet. And you know what? Call it what you will. It's a competent, it's a comfortable, and I think it's a great value for an all-around people-moving vehicle. That's about as detailed as I can get after having driven it for an hour. Once again, we're going to have to get it to Colorado to do a full review. As always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Car. Check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, everyday reviews. Ciao. See you next time.